This June 16th marks a somber anniversary. 80 years ago, South Carolina executed a 14-year-old boy named George Stinney Jr., making him the youngest person executed in the United States in the 20th century. His story is a chilling reminder of a deep injustice, and it's one that we must never forget. It all began on March 24th, 1944. George and his younger sister, Aim, were playing outside their home in the small, segregated mill town of Alkaloo, South Carolina. Two young white girls, Betty June Binnicker, 11 years old, and Mary Emma Thames, age 7, rode up on their bicycles. They stopped and asked the Stinney children if they knew where to find maypops, a type of passion. George and Aim said they didn't know, and the girls rode off. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. Later that evening, when the girls didn't return home, the town organized a search party. George and his father even joined a search. During the search, George mentioned to someone that he had seen the girls earlier that day. This small, innocent comment would seal his fate. The next morning, the girls' bodies were found in a shallow, water-filled ditch. They had been brutally murdered. Within hours, law enforcement officers came to the Stinney home. They arrested 14-year-old George, put him in handcuffs, and took him away for interrogation. His parents weren't allowed to come with him. He would never see them again. According to the police, George confessed to the murders. They claimed he admitted to bludgeoning the girls to death after a failed attempt to sexually assault one of them, but there was a huge problem with this confession. There were no written records of it, no witnesses besides the arresting officers, and absolutely no physical evidence connecting George to the crime. His sister, Aim, who was with him the entire time, maintained his innocence. The aftermath of George's arrest was swift and terrifying for his family. His father was immediately fired from his job at the local sawmill. The family was then forced to abandon their home and flee the town under the threat of mob violence. They were driven out, leaving their 14-year-old son to face the system alone. Just days after his arrest, a lynch mob actually formed and went to the local jail. But George had already been moved to a different town for his own safety. 1 month later, George Stinney Jr. went on trial for his life. The trial was a travesty of justice from the start. His family, being African American, was barred from entering the segregated courthouse. George was left to face the court completely alone, without a single friendly or familiar face in the room. His court-appointed lawyer was a tax commissioner with political ambitions, who had no experience in capital murder cases. He did almost nothing to defend the boy. He didn't call any witnesses. He didn't cross-examine the prosecution's witnesses. The entire trial lasted less than 3 hours. The prosecution's case rested solely on the testimony of the sheriff, who claimed George had confessed. That was it. No other evidence was presented. After hearing this, the all-white all-male jury deliberated for just 10 minutes. Their verdict was guilty. The sentence was death by electrocution. Appeals for clemency were sent to Governor Olin Johnston, but he refused to intervene. And so, on the evening of June 16, 1944, just 83 days after the girls' bodies were found, George Stinney Jr. was led to the execution chamber. He was so small, standing at just 5'1" and weighing only 95 pounds, that the guards had trouble strapping him into the adult-sized electric chair. The Bible he clutched in his hands had to be used as a booster seat. Newspaper reports from the time describe a horrifying scene when the executioner flipped the switch. The initial 2,400-volt surge of electricity coursed through his small body. The oversized death mask, which had been placed on his head, slipped from his face. It revealed his wide, tear-filled eyes, fixed in a state of terror. For 70 years, the official record stated that George Stinney Jr. was a murderer, but his family never gave up fighting to clear his name. In 2014, a judge finally took another look at the case. She heard from George's surviving siblings, who testified about his character and their memories of that day. She reviewed the complete lack of evidence and the unconstitutional nature of the trial. 70 years after his execution, Judge Carmen Mullen vacated George Stinney Jr.'s conviction. She ruled that he had been denied due process, that his confession was likely coerced, and that he had received an unfair trial. She wrote that a great and fundamental injustice had been. George Stinney's story is a painful one, but it's a vital part of our history. It serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of racial prejudice and a flawed justice system. As we mark the 80th anniversary of his death, let's honor his memory by continuing to fight for justice and equality for all. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing to learn more about important stories from our past.